Hello, everyone. Welcome or welcome back to With Infinite Love. My name is Kalila, and today we're doing a reading in honor of Taurus season, all about what self-care, pleasure practices you would be most beneficial for you to incorporate into your life. So I was kind of meditating on what this next reading should be, and I kind of got Taurus season, and then I got the Garden of Earthly Delights, and the sensual pleasures, sensory pleasures. And so we're just going to look at see what the cards have for us, what Spirit has to say for what self-care pleasurable practices that you might want to incorporate into your life, just to make life more enjoyable. We do have three groups today. Group one has the Gilded Tarot Royale with this pink opal. Group two has the Literary Tarot with this serpentine. And group three has the Weaver Tarot with this angelite. I know I need to get some more decks so that we can break it up a little bit, but right now that's not in the budget. So hopefully, if this channel can start making a little money for me, or maybe another revenue source will come in and I can get some more decks. But for now, these are three of our frequent flyers, and that's just going to have to be okay. So without further ado, I will see you in your reading. Hi, Group 1. If you chose the pink opal and the Gilded Tarot Royale, then this is your reading. A quick note before we really get into your reading here, is that, these are collective readings. They cannot be for everybody. They will be for a specific group of people. So if I start pulling cards and they don't resonate, if, like for today's reading, if for instance these are all things that come up are things that you have no interest in, things that might trigger you, things that maybe you just already do and you don't need to be told to do them, then this is not your reading, or this at least is not your group. You might want to choose another group 2 or 3, or just choose another reading or another reader, and that is all totally fine. Okay, so that said, we are going to pull some cards for you today about what self-care, sensory care, sensual care practices might be beneficial to you in honor of Taurus season. So let's clear the energy real quick. And then we will get started. So Spirit for group, ooh, we have the 8 of Cups. All right. So maybe there's some things, some emotional attachments that are no longer serving you that you need to walk away from. That's certainly one of the more disciplined versions of self-care, but also, in my experience, one of the more overall beneficial things. And I know we tend to have really gotten into a habit lately as a collective. Like, I don't just mean on this channel, I mean I see this everywhere. I go, whether I'm on Instagram or TikTok or anywhere like that, I keep finding that there's a lot of the advice is, when things start getting hard, just walk away. And that's not what we do around here. Yes, that is sometimes what's needed, but as general advice, I think we've gotten very quick to kind of just like cut people off instead of working through things. So when I get the 8 of Cups, and that is the meaning of the card, is walking away from emotional attachments that aren't serving you anymore and towards your wish fulfillment. This does not mean ever that I'm telling you like obviously this is just what's coming through. You don't have to do it. You can do whatever you want. But I'm not saying don't fight for the things that you really value. Okay. I don't know why that needed to come through, but it really did. So let's see. Look at one more card, please, Spirit, for what group 1 needs in their self-care, self-pleasure practices. We have the Eight of Cups, the King of Swords, the Six of Wands. Really interesting cards for this particular reading. So Group 1's Garden of Earthly Delights. One more card for what's in Group 1's Garden of Earthly Delights. For those of you who skipped the intro, that was the image that came forward for the theme of this reading. It's a painting. I want to say it's Hieronymus Bosch, but I don't know why I think that. It's just what's in my brain. I could be wrong. But very scandalous painting in its day. So, yes. But it's just, like I say, I was thinking Taurus, and I was thinking of, anyways. So we're doing self-care, self-pleasure, sensory pleasures, things that can just make your life better. I'm going to get 4 more cards to clarify here. Can you please clarify the Eight of Cups, Spirit? Clarify the Eight of Cups, please. The Temperance. Clarify the King of Swords, please, Spirit. King of Swords. You have a card to clarify the King of Swords. Five of Swords. Interesting. And for the Six of Wands. Clarify the Six of Wands. Clarify the Six of Wands for what Group 1 needs to focus on to make their lives more filled with joy. I mean, the Six of Wands is kind of obvious at this point, but we're going to pull some clarifiers. So the Six of Wands is a very public victory. I think there's a message here, obviously, around letting people praise you, about learning how to receive compliments and praise, which I know for a lot of us is very difficult. I don't want to get too deep into that, though, before I get your clarifier, which just does not want to come out. Okay, here we go. Eight of Swords. Yeah, that makes sense. And for the Three of Swords, because that's a really kind of odd card for this type of reading. Three of Swords usually symbolizes heartbreak, so, but I would think in this kind of reading that you would be healing from heartbreak. Might be connected to that Eight of Cups. Let's see, do we have a clarifier for the Three of Swords? Clarifier for the Three of Swords, please, Spirit. The Wheel of Fortune. All right, and then the bottom of the deck is the Five of Cups. All right. So I do think a lot of your reading is about emotional healing in different ways. So we already kind of talked about the Eight of Cups, about walking away from attachments that maybe aren't serving you, that are actually keeping you stuck in outdated ways of thinking. And this is clarified by the Temperance card here. That's often called Sagittarius energy, but it's a balanced energy, a sort of Sagittarius is, Jupiter. It's a very expansive energy, but it's also it's this alchemy with the water and the fire, and balancing the two different aspects, like the duality of life. And so with this coming out as the clarifier for the Eight of Cups, I think that there is possibly an out of balance energy where you have a lot of your focus in situations of the past. And I fully relate to this, so this is not any kind of judgment, but there it seems to be in a way that you are clinging on to situations that are over because you remember all the sweet memories and you're wanting to recapture those. And the message here, yes, it's letting go of the attachments, but it's not necessarily letting go of the memories, right? You can hold on to the valuable things there without without letting them keep you from going forward and creating more good memories with more good situations in your life. And so I really think that this is telling you that this, again, I felt so compelled to say about the Eight of Cups that it doesn't mean we don't fight for the things we value. And I really think that's really what the Temperance here is too. It's not saying you have to give up these things, these people, these whatever this attachment is. You don't have to give it up entirely, but you want to not let it keep you trapped. Sagittarius will not be trapped. They're very freedom loving, and I think that's really, they're encouraging you to bring in this sense of freedom into your life and to remind you that there's a whole world out there with other good experiences in it that can be new great memories that you can make, as long as you get out of this energy of the Eight of Cups, of this holding on to the past. So then moving forward, we have the King of Swords. And this is a very no nonsense king, right? He's kind of notoriously stoic, very logical. He has mastered his intellect though, and so he doesn't let it master him. This is someone who, I think, really, how do I say this? The King of Swords, he's very confident and he's very identified with his intellect, but he has perspective, I think, maybe is what I get from him. He's not marinating in past failures, and he's not anxious about what might come in the future. He's clear seeing, like, in the present. And so, but he's being clarified here by the Five of Swords, and the Five of Swords is often a battle that didn't need to be fought and that really doesn't produce a winner. And so the self-care message here, I think, is to embody this King of Swords in your presence, in your. We've already talked about leaving emotional ties of the past, but now we're moving into the mental realm with these swords cards, and I think what's really happening here is that you're being cautioned against this kind of controlling, needing to win at all costs energy. Again, this is a clinging on to, in many ways, your ideas of how things should go, much like the Eight of Cups in the emotional realm, the Five of Swords is someone who is letting their goals, maybe, or really just their ego's desires for how they want their lives to look, kind of ruin their lives because they're not seeing clearly. So you're being your self-care here for up leveling your life. The theme here was the garden of earthly delights, and it's to be just to be present, to be confident in your ability to not control, to respond. That's the word I was looking for, because not control, but confident in your ability to respond to what comes next in a very kind of logical, clear-sighted way, shall we say. I think, this is saying that you have this capacity, or it wouldn't have hit the table for your reading. But it will require discipline. All of the kings have, like I say, they've mastered their suit, and so they've mastered their intellect. And I really, I don't want to belabor this too much, but I think the message here is really very much about, about just staying present and trusting yourself, having that confidence in your ability to respond to what comes. The Six of Wands, we already talked about a little bit. That's public victory, and that's getting what you want and being recognized for how great you are at getting what you want. And again, I said I know that's really hard for a lot of us to receive that kind of attention. And you are being invited to let go of that, of trapping yourself. I know, because sometimes when we're in this energy where we don't want to be seen publicly, which is something, again, I'm very familiar with, I think we let that stop us. We let it trap us in this place where we can't see our way out of where we are. But the way out of where we are is to show up in public. It is to let people see us, to let people see the good work that we're doing, and let it be a good thing. Learn to receive the love and the praise and the admiration of others can really, like, our refusal to allow that can really keep us stuck. And I think that's the advice here, is to see what you can, and I know, I say, I know this battle well, and I've had to go through and just ask myself, okay, what if it was safe to let people see my work, to let people see me, to let people see my strengths and my weaknesses, and this thing that I'm doing in the world. And what if, no matter what, that was a safe thing to show up in? And I had to really sit with that and really work with that for a while. And at some point, there's only so much behind the scenes work you can do with that, and you kind of just have to practice being in the public eye, whether that's going on Instagram or TikTok and filming content, or YouTube for that matter, filming content of your face even, which I did that for a couple of years, that I showed my face and I did the thing and I got over my fear of that. And now I don't need to do that anymore. And I'm very glad. Like, I can do it, but it doesn't call me. And I got over my fear in that way. But that is, I know a lot of people who have used those tools to learn to do this. I think there's a creator, Justin Schumann, and I'll try to remember to tag him in the description below, but he talks about this. This is like his whole shtick, is getting you to get used to seeing yourself on camera and talking on camera, and as a way to get to know yourself better, as a way to realize that it's safe to be seen being yourself. And so I'll try to remember to tag him because that's what he's coming through as a, if you're struggling with that, he's a great resource, I think. You have the Three of Swords here, which again, I said this is heartbreak. It's kind of imbalanced thinking that wounds you emotionally, technically, because swords are always going to be about thinking. And it's being clarified here by the Wheel of Fortune, which is that cycles. I've heard people call this a Sagittarius energy. I've always known it to be all the fixed signs. So whichever version of that comes, resonates with you, you can absolutely take it. In general, I think we have kind of forced the zodiac into the tarot, and I'm not sure they were ever really designed to go together, but they can be helpful, but they can also be a hindrance. So take what helps, as with all things tarot, and leave what doesn't. But this is cycles changing. The Wheel of Fortune. It's the wheel of fate in a way, and so in your self-care, I think you do have yours. This spread is a lot of work. It's a lot of the work of self-care, of not that you're not broken. Okay, you're not broken, I promise. It might feel like it, but you're not. And so but these are self-care things because they are things that could improve your life if you receive the invitation to work on them. But there is a lot of kind of work in what you're being invited into here. And I think there is heartbreak associated with all of this letting go that you're being asked to do. And I think this is just kind of coming in to say, this is just this part of the cycle, and things will absolutely get better. Again, you have the Five of Cups here at the bottom of the deck, which is grief. I think there will be grief associated with a lot of this. And it could be, too, that all of these are things that you already know that you are struggle with, and you have been resisting grieving what needs to be left behind. I think you might have been resisting grieving what will happen if you surrender control and trust yourself to respond. You might be grieving instances in the past where you showed up in public as yourself and did not receive the praise that you expected. And so you learned to hide. And so I think this fourth set group over here with your bottom of the deck energy is acknowledging that, but it's telling you that it's temporary. That your heartbreak is temporary and you can heal, and there are better things ahead of you. This is a very future focused spread. Really, just, I think if you're feeling stuck right now, that would make a lot of sense in this particular group. And, but your advice really seems to be, the Chariot in reverse. This is Cancer energy, but you turn the Chariot around and she's balanced and she's going forward very quickly towards her goals. And I think that's the point of all of this, is to bring this light and dark with the Chariot into balance, which is what you're going to do by letting yourself kind of do the shadow work, really do the inner healing that will allow you to move forward so quickly towards all the things that you desire. Let's see if there's anything else I can see here. So on a less inward facing level, you might want to hike in the woods. You might want to go horseback riding. shoot, you might want to take a fencing class or a dance class. Maybe do some, some belly dancing, or the other one that I can't think of right now. But you know, take a dance class, or visit your local dungeon if that fits, and if you're that kind of way, and don't take that if that's not for you. For those whom it's for, they know what I mean. But that's I'm looking to see like what kind of fun things you might want to incorporate based on these cards, and so to blow off some steam. You know, these are just extra messages. And then we're going to finish off your reading with a couple of cards from the Lemurian Oracle and your little today I will affirmation thing. So you guys got, I pre-pulled these. You guys got the heart chakra, unfurling back to love, and unique gifts. And so I think, you know, focusing on heart healing, obviously, that really made sense. And I hadn't pulled, obviously, you saw I pulled your tarot on camera. These I pulled in advance, but I didn't really know what was coming. I just, yeah. So heart chakra healing is really indicated for you here. That's, you know, the whole, your whole chest area, your lungs. But unfurling back to love, this is seeing, you know, green is a color of the heart chakra, so is light pink. So you can do what feels right to you, but really doing whatever works for you to help you reopen your heart. And then 55 with unique gifts here. Oh, you've got 555, so that might be for someone. You also had a 5 down here, 2 5s with your 5 of cups and your 5 of swords. So that's definitely a possible number for you. But you do have unique gifts to share with the world. And I think doing this work that's being asked of you is really going to help to get you into this place where you have to be seen in order to share your unique gifts. You know, that's your 6 of wands energy, of course, and that came out on top of that. But you have such value. Whether you do anything with it or not, you know, your worth doesn't change based on what your life circumstances look like. But this is really just reminding you that you have gifts that would be helpful to others if you're called to use them in that way. And, you know, do this healing work, and that's there for you. And so then you're today I will inhale, exhale, and repeat. So yeah, if even just one intentional breath can regulate your nervous system and get you into a better space. But if you are called to breath work, there are all sorts of different kinds of breath work that you can do with that, or just breathing meditations. I know those aren't for everybody, but if they are for you, that's maybe a practice you want to start or return to or deepen. Like I say, you know, take what resonates and leave what doesn't. But this was your reading today. I hope this was helpful. I would love it if you would, you know, push all of the buttons if you liked this. Leave a comment if you feel called, and I hope to see you in another group or another reading. But regardless, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night wherever you are, and take care. Bye-bye. Hi, group 2. If you chose the literary tarot or this serpentine crystal, then this is your reading today about what self-care practices, sensory practices, pleasure practices might be good for you to incorporate into your life to make your life more joyful. Oh, let's cleanse the energy real quick. Welcome to your reading. I did already shuffle these. Just a quick note here that if you these are collective readings, and so they won't be for everybody. If you hear me say something that does not sound like something that you would enjoy at all, if you feel triggered by any of the suggestions that come forward, or even if I just tell you things that you are already incorporating into your life, then just know that this might not be the reading for you. You can choose another group, another reading, or another reader, and that is totally fine. But yeah, just to know, take what resonates for you, and don't let the rest take anything from you. Okay, you are in full control here of your time, your energy, and your attention. So, oh goodness, what do we have? First two out here. We have the Two of Cups and the Four of Parchment. All right, it's the Four of Pentacles in this deck. I hope this is coming out okay. At some point, I need to get like a monitor so I can see what you guys can see. Well, it's not too bad. All right, Spirit, for group 2, what self-care, sensory pleasure practices, etc. does my group 2s need to incorporate into their lives? I don't think I said this in the intro, but I was meditating on what to do for this reading, and I was thinking, wanting something a little more fun, a little lighter, and thinking about Taurus season, and I got in this image in my head of the Garden of Earthly Delights. It's a painting by, I think it's Hieronymus Bosch, I'm not sure. It's what I have in my head, but I did not verify that before I stepped into this reading. So if I am wrong, I will put the right answer in the description. But anyways, that was the theme that wanted to come forward today. And so it was a very scandalous painting in its time. It kind of still is a little bit, but we love that around here. So here we go. Anyways, so that is really what prompted the theme for this reading. Group 1 was a little more sober than that, a little more work heavy, but self-care can take a lot of forms. It's not all bubble baths and brunches. Sometimes it's doing a lot of the hard inner work. So we'll see what's coming through for you guys, but this looks like a lighter pile. So that's also nice. And you are always, of course, welcome to watch more than one pile. Whatever resonates for you, you are, of course, welcome wherever you want to be. Can we clarify the Two of Light here, please, Spirit? Clarify the Two of Light. This one. Queen of Quills. Let's see, Queen of Swords. Interesting. And for the Four of Parchment, please, Spirit. Four of Parchment. Clarify the Four of Parchment for my group 2s. The Page of Ink, Page of Wands. And to clarify the Knight of Ink. Oh, well, fine. Eight of Ink. And the King of Light. Wow. All right. Bottom of your deck is the Six of Quills. So real quick, this deck obviously made its own suits. Light is cups, parchment is pentacles, ink is wands, and quills are swords. So Two of Light is the Two of Cups, which is often a very, it's kind of a soulmate card. It's talking about, balanced emotional input with another. And so it doesn't have to be romantic, but it often is. But it can also just be, it can be anything that where you and someone else or something else are equally invested emotionally in this thing that you're doing together. And so that's why it has often a very romantic connotation. When I was learning tarot, I was taught that this was the real soulmate romantic relationship card, whereas the Lovers was more about the choice. So there could be this could be guidance that to focus on the romantic relationship that is in your life already, as part of your self-care, to really nurture that. But with the Queen of Swords here coming out underneath, I think there is a need for discernment in this relationship, and not necessarily a cutting off, because I know people really like to hate on the Queen of Swords for being cold and cutting, and she absolutely can be, but it's a discernment thing. And so, with the Six of Quills here is your bottom of the deck energy, and that is kind of a moving on after conflict. And so there may be something here in a close relationship to you that needs repair, and you are being asked to look at that. And like I say, it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a friendship. It could be familial. But there is a message here about doing that. If all of your relationships are just breezy and smooth right now, and you don't have any kind of conflicts or any kind of struggles at all, who are you and how did you do that? First of all, but second of all, if that is you, then this message is really, I think it's just asking you to examine what's whether you are whether you're putting in equally emotionally invested energy into all of your relationships, and just kind of do an audit, and if it comes back fine, then it does, but that's just the guidance here. So the Four of Parchment, this is the Four of Pentacles, can be, it is an energy of holding on to what you've built so far. And so it very easily lends itself into a kind of a miserly energy, a belief in scarcity. It doesn't have to be, but they've really leaned into that, an interpretation of it with this deck in particular. That is, it's showing the story of A Christmas Carol, of Ebenezer Scrooge here, having to learn that there are other things to value besides money. And so I don't know if that's a lesson that you are needing to learn, but it's coming out here being clarified by the Page of Ink. That's the Page of Wands, which is a very adventurous spirit. He's, this is a charismatic, youthful person going out and really just ready to see the world and to conquer the world. And I'm wondering if this isn't asking you to invest in a sense of adventure, maybe to go take a vacation someplace new. And I know, if money is tight, that it might not seem like the best choice, though I will say, as someone who has traveled fairly extensively in the past, that it has always been worth it for the experiences I had, that really just my world got so much bigger. And so, and I'm, obviously you can do whatever you want. You don't have to travel abroad. If you don't want to, you could go to, a town nearby, or check into a hotel that's local that you've never stayed at that has something interesting. I don't know. But this does seem to be inviting you to invest in some kind of adventure, even if that's just, buying a book and, you know getting lost in the pages of a fantasy novel, whatever. However this looks for you, this is but if you've been thinking about taking a vacation, this is absolutely confirmation for you that that is something that would be really beneficial to you. So I'm going to leave that there. So then we have the Knight of Wands. So the Knight of Wands is a little older than the Page, generally, as we talk about the ages of the court cards here. The Knight of Wands is, he thinks he knows it all. He's in that uh, he's in that energy of like going. It's kind of that teenage invincible energy in my brain for the fire signs, for that drive, that inspiration, that um, passion of the Wands suit. And so he's really going for what he wants, and kind of in a damn the consequences sort of a thing. And that's coming out then with the Eight of Wands, which is rapid movement, rapid communication. This is another card that indicates travel. So there again, take that if you want. The Six of Quills indicates travel. So you might be moving altogether. That is entirely possible with what's on here. If you've been thinking about relocating, that is here. But I think you're being encouraged to embrace this kind of spontaneity, this kind of inspired, quick movement that might actually really upend your life in some way. But this is coming through as a self-care thing. Like, so if you have something somewhere that you've been being called to, that's absolutely here. Regardless, with the Knight of Wands, clarified by the Eight of Wands, you are being encouraged to take whatever this inspiration, passionate action that you've been thinking about. You're giving the green light with that. Um, it's interesting because there's so much action here the more I look at it, because then you have the Knight of Cups, clarified by the King of Cups. And um, so then this is a new emotional offer, and a very caring energy that's coming in. And so yeah, I mean, the main message, once you get this relationship sorted, whether you end up walking away from this situation or staying in it, because it's not really indicated either way. But however this resolves, once you get that sorted, you're really kind of being encouraged to go on an adventure. When I was looking at to move on from that conflict, towards calmer waters, but your calmer waters here are very, um, yeah, very action oriented, very leadership oriented, passionate, again, spontaneous, but also loving and caring. And there, there's not a lot of grounded action here. And so I'm wondering if you haven't been in this Four of Parchment energy a little bit too long. And this is just really inviting you to lean in, to to the fun that you can have. If I step back from the meaning of the cards and look at actual, like, tangible activities that are shown here, so we have ballroom dancing or any kind of couples dancing class that you could take. We have, again, we have fencing. I think it'll probably be in all of these. River rafting. I think, is this? Oh no, that's his horn. Yeah, with a feast here. So maybe take a cooking class. Go on a hike, climb a mountain, take a long walk, go sailing, go horseback riding. I mean, I don't know about the bug thing going on here, but if that calls you, do it. What's under that? Oh yeah, underneath your 6 of quills. We're not doing reversal, so I turned it around. So you have the 10 of cups there. So there is a lot of fulfillment coming in for you. 10 of cups, and what's beyond that? 2 of parchment juggling. Okay. So yeah, there's just, I mean, you might have to juggle some of these things if you take all this rapid action, but there is, we didn't really talk about these cups cards. And part of that is that I get bogged down with the court cards a little bit. They are such complex energies, and when I'm not discussing them as people necessarily, and I'm just trying to extract the energy out of it, it gets a little wibbly wobbly sometimes. But yeah, I think this is Odysseus, and this, I don't. I think this is Great Expectations, the Night of Light, and yeah, he's going off to seek his fortune. But yeah, and then Odysseus is trying to get home after war, so supposedly. Sure does let himself get sidetracked. But anyways, I digress. In my literary analysis, why I love these cards, and why probably y'all don't like me reading from them, because I get lost in the sauce a little bit. But you do have kind of a homecoming energy mixed in with all of this adventure. There is, it's kind of like, once you get this motion going, you will be moving towards, again, with the 10 of cups here, your emotional fulfillment, really. And it might, everything might not go exactly the way you want it to, but there is, like I say, an emotional safety in a way. So yeah, I'm not going to get too bogged down with that. I think really the overall message has been pretty clear. So I'm just going to get you a couple of cards of, I pre-pulled these. Oh, interesting. Okay, from the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck, and these are your, like, kind of more direct advice about the energy that you are being invited to lean into. And I actually am going to have to look these up, and the last group I did okay without it. The Soul Star chakra, I believe that's the one above the crown. Yes, merging with the divine, transcendence, letting go, being filled with divine light, channeling karmic records, the bridge between the spiritual and physical realms, and ascension. Interesting. Healing position 15 centimeters above the head. Remember that you are an infinite being with the ability to expand your awareness beyond space and time. That's an adventure for sure. Consider that paradigms outside this physical reality may be unfathomable until we raise our vibration and can think outside the mind. Meditate on the idea that everything that ever was and ever will be is happening simultaneously right now across multiple dimensions. Okay, so that is, if you are not like going to go off on vacation and take the world by storm, this could very much be an inward exploration, an inward adventure of really unlocking all sorts of energies within yourself and ascending in a way that this could absolutely be a spiritual exploration that can take you off into semi psychedelic states. Ask me how I know, but so that's here. If that's something that you're interested in, if you're still here and you were like, I don't know about this whole like travel adventure thing, then the message here is definitely a spiritual exploration, but it's still exploration. It's still an adventure. It's just inward instead of outward. Your infinite card here is about eternal life force and cycles of growth, many deaths and rebirths within your life, and really an understanding that you are so much more than this physical body. And so yeah, you are being called to go inward, whether or not you are going on an outward adventure. I think this phase of your life will unlock some spiritual gifts probably for you that you were not aware of. And so then your little affirmation is, today I will play it by ear. Again, don't overplan all of this. I think once you step onto the path, it's going to have a momentum of its own, and it's going to take you very quickly, apparently, through quite a lot of, yeah, of adventures, of, I don't even know how to say it. It's like I'm thinking of this river raft energy here. Thinking of, once you get into the current of the river, you're on the ride. Like, unless you're very skilled at maneuvering, like you're gonna go downstream whether you want to or not. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't want to. I'm just saying I don't think you're going to be able to fight this too much. You might be able to direct it a little bit, but this definitely feels like it has a momentum of its own. And so, I think you are not going to be able to overplan this. So your affirmation to play it by ear, I think, is apt in this way. But I am going to leave you there. I hope this helped. I hope this was fun for you. If you liked it, please push all the buttons, leave a comment if you feel called, and I hope to see you in another group, another reading. But if I don't, that's totally fine as well. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me, and take care. Bye-bye. Hi, Group 3. If you chose the Weaver Tarot and this angelite stone, then this is your reading. Let's just clear the energy real quick before we get started. And so today's reading is about, when I was meditating on what to do for this reading, I was thinking about a little bit about Taurus season and, where we're at in the world and in astrologically and all of those things. And anyways, and then I got this image in my head of the painting, the Garden of Earthly Delights. And if you've watched another group, I've done this little thing in the beginning of all of them, so please forgive me. But the Garden of Earthly Delights is a painting, and I think it's by Hieronymus Bosch. And if it's not, I will say that in the description. I will correct myself in the description, but quite scandalous, hedonistic painting, but quite famous for being so scandalous. And so that was the theme that wanted to come through, was like how you can have goodness. Okay, we have the Emperor and the Six of Wands. Well then, it's a bold start to your reading. Anyways, of what this reading was going to be about, Taurus really loves their sensual, sensory pleasures, and so I just thought this would be a fun little reading to do today. And so far, the groups have been very different, but they, were like they've been good. Anyways, the self-care can take many forms. It can be a lot of hard work, or it can be a lot of play, and it's usually both. So that's all coming through here. What goodness. So I'll tell you what, your cards are eager. So we have the Emperor, the Six of Wands, the Five of Cups, the Six of Cups, the Four of Swords, the Magician. We've got two more. Can you clarify the Five of Cups, please, Spirit? A couple of these cards have come out in the other groups. Oh, that's too many. I don't need four. Let's try this again. Clarify the Five of Cups, please, Spirit, for group 3. For what self-care, pleasurable, life-enhancing energy they need to step into. Yeah, we're having a lot of repeat cards in this group. So if you felt called to more than one group, then this is confirmation that there might be messages for you in that group too. I don't need all of these. I will. Oh, what just happened? Group 3, welcome back, or welcome back to me mostly. My camera died as I was filming your reading, which is the first time that has happened for me, and that was kind of later in the day, and I couldn't make it back to your reading, so I am finishing your reading on a different day. And I'm explaining this because I think that is actually part of your message, that part of your self-care practice that is coming through here is to allow yourself to rest, but also to return when you are able to. Like, don't stay stuck in that rest state, which I have definitely been guilty of. But also to really pay attention to when you're being called to stop before external forces come in and stop you. And so that's just something that, if that resonates, then you can take that from the way your reading came down. But anyways, I had just pulled your last card here when my camera died, I think, and in your bottom of the deck energy is the Ruler of Swords. So let's get into your reading now that we have all of the energies on the table. So we're starting with very strong with the Emperor here, and that's the anchor in this deck, because this is a gender neutral deck. So we have the anchor being clarified by the Four of Swords, and I think again, this is very active energy being clarified by very restful energy. And I don't think I really had made that connection before I did my little spiel there, so we're going to go with it. But yes, this is, yeah. Oh, let me look at your energy. Actually, there's a lot of that kind of contrast on the table here. Your bottom of the deck energy being the ruler of swords, the king of swords in the traditional tarot, but it's the ruler of swords in this deck. And, the ruler of swords is very ambitious, very intelligent, um, kind of tapped in not only to their logical mind, but also to intuitive wisdom. And so, but very, very ambitious, really gets things done. And I see that energy on the table, that part of either who you are as a person or part of your self-care practice really needs to include taking action in your external world, tapping into quote unquote masculine energy, regardless of your gender. We all have the polarity there. I am going to have to do a video on that so that I can reference back to it, because I have lots of thoughts on the whole masculine feminine language that we use. But anyways, I digress. I think, it's regardless of whether you like the polarity or not, this is your outward facing proactive energy. And there's, in many ways, that there's a lot of that on the table. There is also, however, some energies of receiving and resting, and I think you're being um, called to balance those out as the overall message. And I think we've already said that in a way, but yeah. So I'm going to leave that there with your first two cards and move on to your Six of Wands, being clarified by the Magi, which is the magician in the traditional tarot. And for me, as far as like what you can really lean into for your self-care, I think is manifesting your public victory. Six of Wands is about a public victory, about being celebrated by your community for your accomplishments. And the magician is the archetype of someone who really has access to all of the tools they need to create anything you want. And so really this pairing here is telling me that for your self-care, this is about understanding yourself as a manifester, understanding yourself as a creator, and allowing that to whatever wants to channel through you, but using those tools that you have and creating something that I think is going to bring you a lot of success, a lot of visibility. And we talked in another reading, I don't remember which one now because it's been a minute. If you were called to another reading, we did get the Six of Wands in another reading, and you know we discussed deeper about allowing yourself to receive praise and celebration, even if that's not maybe something that comes naturally to you, about learning how to allow yourself to be seen. And so I don't want to spend too much time on that in your reading, because I did that in the other group, and you might not need it. But if you were called to another pile, then by all means, follow that. Then we have the Five of Cups being clarified by the Eight of Wands. And for me, when we're talking about self-care, when we're talking about the Garden of Earthly Delights and the card of grief and loss comes up, it's saying that there's that uncomfortable part of self-care that is allowing yourself to grieve situations that require it, and especially whether that's, tapping into collective grief or individual grief in your life, or both. Complicated and compounded grief is definitely a thing. But you're being asked here with the Five of Cups to let yourself cry and not see that as a weakness. The Eight of Wands is a very strong energy. It is a strong energy of rapid movement, rapid what are words? Rapid forward movement, rapid communication, rapid growth. Like, this is very much an energy of things moving forward quickly. Shall we say this can indicate travel, but I'm not really getting that so much in this spread as it's coming out clarifying your Five of Cups. I think allowing yourself to grieve can open up this I'm sorry. There's a ringing sound. It sounds like my singing bowl, but it's more protracted than that, and I have no idea where it's coming from. It's not like, but yeah, okay. I think someone has like singing bowls playing or something, clearing the energy. Um, but it caught my attention because it's not something I was doing, and I was like, "What's happening?" So, anyways, and that's thank you, Spirit. Yes, that's why this Five of Cups, this letting yourself grieve, will clear the energy that allows this rapid forward movement to come through for you. But you can't skip the grieving what needs to be grieved, I think. And so that's the message here. And then your final pairing is the Six of Cups with the Four of Coins. And here we have, this is more your receptive energy. I mean, the Five of Cups is too. But these are, the Six of Cups is kind of about nostalgia and sweetness. And we have the clock here. This is usually a card associated with the past, but in a very sweet way. Roses in this deck indicate joy, and we have all of these cups upright, and they're all balanced beautifully. And this is being, clarified here by your Four of Coins, which is a card of holding on, right? And it is a complicated card in a lot of ways. It can be a hoarding sort of energy, but I think here this is really inviting you to let yourself hold on to any sweetness, any joy that you may have experienced in the past, and that is still serving you. This is an opposite message, just something we got into in another group. But it's really saying that your good memories can be fuel for you. They can be supportive to you. Relationships from the past. Oh, I forgot to turn my watch off. Relationships from your past that, were positive, can be supportive for you. Any of these things, even if it's just happy memories, these really allow yourself to tap in to that. Oh, there's so many other things going on externally in this reading, and I think that is why you're being called to really lean into the balance between action and rest. But it's distracting me as a reader because I'm usually home alone when I'm doing these, and I am not right now. But we're making it work anyways. So that is it for the main part of your reading. I did pull two cards of yeah. Before I pulled any of these, before I started the reading, I pulled two cards from the Beyond Lemuria Oracle deck to be your advice cards for the energy that you should tap into. And I just, you guys watched me. I pulled these cards. I pulled your tarot on screen, and these I pulled way beforehand. But yeah, they're saying, so we have Manifestia, which is your manifesting energy, which we talked about with the cards that are actually underneath the Manifestia card, and reclaim your energy, which is kind of what we've been talking about with your Four of Swords, with your Six of Cups, Four of Coins, your grieving. Like when you pull all your when you rest and you pull your energy back and you allow yourself to process your emotions and to keep what's still serving you from your past and to manifest also with all of this action and vision that you have here in your spread as well. This is just coming out as kind of just reiterating really your cards here. So I don't really think I need to go into that too much. And then your little affirmation tab today is, today I will kick butt. Kick butts. So yeah, and I mean if you're wanting to quit smoking, that is an additional message here that will obviously not be for everybody. But regardless, there, like I say, there's a lot of victorious energy in your spread. There's a lot of leadership energy, and I really think you're being called to lean into that as part of your self-care, as part of becoming this person that has all of the quote unquote earthly delights that you are wanting, all of the sensual pleasures, the sensory pleasures, whatever it is, invites you to become more of this leadership energy, to lean into your leadership energy to manifest, um, and still, honor your softness and your emotional well-being. But I am going to leave you there today, group 3. I thank you so much for letting me read for you and sharing your energy with me. If you liked this, it would really help me out if you pushed all of the buttons and leave a comment and let me know uh, how this landed for you. But regardless, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night wherever you are, and take care. Bye.